That's Danny Colmarino. He's on the witness list in the Casey Anthony case, the owner of the tattoo parlor where Casey Anthony got that Bella Vita tattoo on her left shoulder during the time period when Kaylee is reportedly missing. What does that say? What will the jury do with that? Because it's coming in, folks. Kayla is in Illinois tonight. Good evening, Kayla.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, your thoughts about the Bella Vita tattoo?
Actually, my thoughts are a little different than what I've been seeing on what you guys are thinking. You know, I feel as if that a lot of people expresses the way they feel when people pass or are missing or grieve differently than others. And I feel as if she might be getting that tattoo to represent her daughter was a beautiful part of her life to her. You know, because I have my family members have passed and I've done the same thing, you know, and it's been really close to when they passed. So I feel as if she might be doing that tattoo to represent how her daughter was a beautiful part of her life. That's what I feel about it.
Kayla, great call. Thank you so much. Gene, when we talk about what she was doing and these 31 days, this stuff is, the jury's going to hear it, and they're going to have some interpretation. And I guess with this Bella Vita, there have been a lot of people throwing different things out. And you pointed this out, Gene. Some might think it's a tribute. But even if it's a tribute, Gene, that doesn't implicate her or get her off the hook either way. I mean, her daughter's missing. If it's a tribute, then her daughter's dead. Well, how does she know her daughter's dead? That could be another argument made by the prosecution, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, that it's consciousness of guilt, that she knows exactly what happened to her, and her guilt is making her put this tattoo on to have some type of remembrance or tribute to her daughter. So the only way it can work for the defense is that the daughter was kidnapped. She's inside, she is painting, she is crying, and she puts this on to show this is a beautiful life of this little girl that has to be found.
Dr. Paul Hokemeyer, here's the other question. This is a big picture question because we heard the owner of the tattoo parlor say he was watching Kaylee grow up because Casey would come to that tattoo parlor when either she was getting a tattoo or any one of her friends. She had a friend who worked there doing piercings. So she spent some time there, and he saw that child being brought there. Now, I don't want to judge any parent. Do you think this jury will judge Casey as a parent for bringing her child as an infant and as a toddler to a tattoo parlor?
Well, I think that a jury will do what it will do, and I think that, you know, in terms of parents and what they do with their children, it depends upon the community that they live in. It depends upon what's normal for particular families, for particular socioeconomic classes. So I think, again, I think everything will be looked at, and this is such a profoundly tragic case that every piece of evidence should be looked at and everything should be considered.
Let's go to Leslie, who's in South Carolina tonight. Good evening, Leslie.
Good evening.
Your thoughts about the Bella Vita tattoo?
Well, I am quite terrified that the former caller said that she thought that it was just, you know, how wonderful of Casey, you know, to express how beautiful Kaylee was. And I'd like to know how that let me speak right. How that, when she's partying like crazy, is that the beautiful life?
Yeah. Leslie, thanks so much for the call. And that's going to be part of the prosecution argument. They have so much ammo when it comes to those 31 days. I want you to take a listen to someone else. This is Jonathan Daly. This is a longtime friend of Casey Anthony. Here he is talking to police in an audio interview. Again, talking about the time when she came in for a tattoo.
I saw her here before then. It was a couple days before she got tattooed. She was here hanging out, and she set up the appointment then to get tattooed. Between June 9th and now, I've seen her probably 2 or 3 times just here, like hanging out and stuff. Maybe once or twice. I don't know exactly. But yeah, she's actually completely normal in that time frame.
Drew, is that more sugar and lemons and water for your lemonade there?
Listen, you know what? It really is. So she's coming in and she's acting normal. I mean, everything is going to point to her incompetence as a parent. Yeah, we're going to hear that there are times that she was loving and nurturing, but during this period, you can't fight if you're defending the case that this is an act of negligence. But at some point, the state of Florida has to come up with serious evidence that she killed her poor daughter. And this jury is collectively going to know of all the cases in their lifetime that have the proverbial smoking gun. That does not exist here. And just because she's negligent and incompetent doesn't mean she's a murderer.
Okay, as we go to break, I want you to listen one more time to Danny Calamarino here, because he's kind of old school. Take a listen.
I come from the old school in New York, you know, nobody's a rat and all that stuff. But when it comes to a kid, there's no holds barred. I don't care, you know, as long as the truth can be found out.
Bella, beautiful, V to life. That's the tattoo that Casey Anthony got in the days that Kaylee Anthony was reportedly missing. We're counting down to the start of Casey Anthony's murder trial. Now, folks, just 20 days away. Taking your phone calls. Let's go to Marie, who's in Georgia tonight. Good evening, Marie.
Good evening.
Your thoughts about the Bella Vita?
Well, I have a comment about everyone saying that Casey is such a loving and attentive mother.
Okay.
I think everything about Casey is a lie and a show, and sociopaths have to be believable. You know, I just think that it's her way of, you know, showing off, like, oh, look how good I am.
That's a great point, Marie. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be argued in court, but some jurors may very well have that on their minds. Gene Casares, let me bring you in now. This is a big week, right, for Judge Belvin Perry and everyone associated with this case. We're expecting some decisions.
We're waiting for them because, at least in part, he said that some of them would come down on April 21st, if not sooner. The big one, Vinny, is chloroform. The tests that were done with the mass spectrometer and gas chromatograph, tests that have never come into a courtroom to show signs of decomposition because of the air sample testing, that chloroform was present in such amounts as compared to the other chemicals. We're waiting for that. Hair banding, one hair found in the trunk that showed signs of decomposition. Will that finally be allowed in a Florida courtroom? The canine searches that were done, is that going to come before the jury? The phantom sticker residue, I say phantom, that's what the defense alludes it is, that was shown to an FBI agent as that testing was being done for latent fingerprints. We know his heart-shaped sticker was found at the scene. And also, the defense wants to keep out any mention of the smell of that trunk because so many people mentioned it along the way. All of those hearings and a little bit more we're waiting for decisions on.
Unbelievable. All this stuff can truly impact the case. Great job by everyone tonight. Drew Finling, mixing up the lemonade. Mixing it up, and you have to because there's a lot of lemons in this case, but with the right lawyering, you can turn it around. Dr. Paul Hokemeyer, great to see you, and Gene Casares, fantastic job as always. Now